Okay, my name is Patricia. I'm from DRC. Right now, I'm based in Dubai. Oh, I have a long journey as an entrepreneur, starting uh, 20 years ago, um, from marketing agency to the transport. But the reason why I want more than to focus on why building feminists, transport feminists, but more about the resilience of build and working in transportation. I started in UBSCAP 10 years ago, but I'm going to share my story as an entrepreneur. I started business with $50. When I was at school, I loving to be entrepreneur. I born from an entrepreneurship family, and I eating asking money to my family. So I started very early. At 18 years, I own a workshop sewage and then starting business. Then I went back to the university. I studied law, business. I have a PhD, and on another side, I'm a public figure because I sit on the many international board. I also own a show, but my show is more than focused on a life lesson because entrepreneurship is all about a lesson. You know, I failed a lot before to be where I am today, and building transportation feminist city is about resilience. It's about failure. It's about rebuild yourself. It's about lift other women. And so this is the reason why 10 years ago I decided to launch the taxi cab, or what named UB's Cab. When I started with UB's Cab, I would say, I remember I went to the bank and I asked my banker if they can finance the taxi. They told me, how do you think that people will take a taxi driving by women? And I said, why not? They said, no, they know that women, they don't drive very well. I said, no, women are it's more secure to have a woman as a driver. So this is how I started my journey. And I started working on that, but we only launched in 2017. When we launching the taxi, I could not find a woman as a driver. And most of women was afraid about the husband. The husband doesn't want them to drive. And I remember one of the driver told me, his husband say, what do you know if you will try, you will pick up a man, and then the man will maybe something will happen. And I needed to build the confidence. That is why I'm talking about resilience, build the confidence of women. And we started with 10 cabs. Today we have more than 500. I was owning most of the cabs, and then I say, how can we build feminist city and transport in Africa if I'm still be the owner of the taxi cabs? I needed to change the narrative because it's not about having driver as a woman has a driver, but it's about building women in mobility. What I gave myself a goal to reach, so the next, in 2030, 1 million women in mobility. And I know together we can do it. This is how my journey is starting. So I will say what we do, where we are, and where we are going. So what we do, we help a woman to become owner of their own cabs. How? By training them, by finance, by digitalizing. And where we are going to build make Africa one of the biggest continents owning 1 million women in mobility. Because I believe that we can do it, but we can't do it if we don't have funds. We can't do it with the lack of funds because we all know women has a big issue getting funds from the bank and even from some private equity. This is the reason why I decided 5 years ago to launch one of the biggest funds, only focus to invest in a woman in mobility. When I talk mobility, talking about public transport, talking about taxi cab. Some years ago, I came in Kenya and I took an Uber with a woman driver. And I asked the ladies if she owned the cabs. She told me, no, she get the cab from someone, and every day she need to pay. She paid the owner something, and I told her, why you don't own the cabs? And she told me she owning the cabs. She went to the bank. They gave her a loan, and she paid for 6 months, and then she could not complete the bank. She lost the cabs. And she say, many women on the same situation. I say, okay, so this, like you say, as a leader, you say, where is the problem? And how can I resolve the problem? And this is the reason why I said, okay, we need to own our own bank with a fund so that we can invest in a woman and a mobility. Africa can become feminist city in transport only when women will get the power. I believe, we say women empowerment, but all African women has power. We are powerful women, but we lack finance. That is why, for me, I love to talk about economic and financial empowering women economically. Because a woman who is a financial independent will change the world. The lack of funding, the lack of finance prevents women to be powerful, because we all empowering. If you go into each corner, you will see each ladies selling bread, selling a fruit. She's an entrepreneur. But why she's not scale the business or expand? Because of lack of funding, not just lack of funding, lack of someone trust her. And I love this quote from my mentor: there is always someone who will see our mess and give us grace. And as a woman, we give other grace when we can see that we can lift other women. And when we starting the taxi cab, it was really tough. It was, I think, I love to say, I grow through the taxi cab. Taxi cab make me more woman with empathy. Women try to understand other people's life, because it was really an experience. I remember sometime I will go back home and I will cry. And I remember during the COVID, my project manager told me, I was telling him, I'm feeling so tired. And he say, if I was praying that we have a lockdown so that I can stay home, because I have been working for more than 7 years with no holiday. And then during the lockdown, I say, I'm gonna take back all the taxi in the market and give it to the woman driver. I don't want to own the taxi, because the goal is not make me rich. The goal is build the next generation. The goal is building a woman. And all my journey as an entrepreneur has been about lifting women. As today, we all in a transportation. Most of women are driver or in a mobility. I would like during the talk, I planning, the things when you are like a case note speaker, you plan, you say, I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna say this, and then deeper inside you, there is something that you need to tell to the people so that you can lift those people. Transportation is one of the tough area for women, because they call all the time is a men industry, is for men. But I believe as a woman, there is no work for women and no work for men. We all like equality on the same level, and we can do the same work that men can do. And I believe that if we create more women in the mobility, we're gonna definitely change the city, become feminist city, because we will never change the city as a feminist in transport as long we only have women as a driver or women like a fighting. We need to work together and try to change the narrative of public transport. This is the first thing. The second thing is how can we put on the table a fund what will be dedicated only for women, to help a woman to go to another level. Because today, I will just take one of the lady who has been a driver in the company. She's starting as a driver. We give her one car. Today, she owns 10 cabs. And she make more than, I would say, maybe $10,000 a month. Because when we gave her a car, we already get a contract with her with the World Bank, because most of the international institution was my client. So by end of the month, she was earning more than the $300 I was paying her when she was a driver. That's the first one. The second thing is when I realized most of women in the DRC, they don't drive, because it's expensive for them. It's expensive. In Kenya, I think it's easy. You can find some women as a driver. But in the DRC, I think we maybe have 20% of women as a driver. And then what's happening? We open a driving school. USAID and the U.S. Embassy, I'm an alumni from a U.S. department. They're funding the driving school. And today we training more than 5,000 women as a driver. Most of the UN agency, they work, most of women driver, they come from the school. And we give a free school. Why? Because we are there to create more opportunity and more job, create more job. And the only reason that we can change, like I said, the narrative is by giving those women a fund. And my reason why I'm here today is because I really want to contribute in the Kenya market and East Africa by funding more women to become owner of their own cabs, not just the cab, but also the private, public transportation. Because I believe that we will become a feminist city if all of us, we are involved 100% in transportation, because we need to change Africa. There is no change in Africa without transportation. There is no change in Africa without infrastructure. And the only way for us to change it is to work together hand by hand and then change the narrative. I believe women are the future. I believe each of you, maybe one of you will become one of the first woman president in Kenya. Why not? We just had one in we just had one in Namibia yesterday. So I believe the future is female. And I believe, why not? I can become the next president for the DRC. I believe on that. Thank you.